Hello, ACPS staff. In this short video tutorial, we're going to get a look at a completed Nearpod lesson. Sometimes the best way to learn something is to see what it looks like when it's completely finished and then backtrack and learn how to build it. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're logged in as a student and we're going to get a look at not only the content slides that are available to teachers when building in Nearpod, but we're going to get a look at several of the different Nearpod activities. So when ready, the student can click over here on the right-hand side to progress through a student-paced lesson, which is what we're in. This second slide we're going to come to here is another content slide. You can see, just like any good lesson, we're introduced to the essential question that we're going to learn about today and the objective. Now when we progress to the third slide, we get to what's known as a collaborate board in Nearpod. This is an all response prompt for the students. It's a chance for all of them to share their opinions, and everyone else's response lands here on the bulletin board so that I can see what other people had to say. So not only am I sharing my opinion with my teacher, but I'm also sharing it with my classmates. When I'm ready, I can click down here at the bottom and I can type in exactly what I would like to say. Once I have my thought composed, I can click the share button. And you'll see not only does my response land on the Collaborate board, but you can see several of my classmates have engaged as well. Once again, when I'm ready, I click the arrow on the right-hand side to proceed. Here we come to one of Nearpod's interactive videos here, and I can click to play. And what makes this an interactive video is that at designated timestamps in the video, it's going to stop automatically and bring up a prompt or a question that I need to respond to. This first one here happens to be an open-ended question, but the question choices are very similar to any type of quiz that you might have. There's multiple choice, true, false, and so on. Teachers even have the ability to prevent students from skipping any questions so that they have to watch the entire video and ask all questions in order to move on. That feature is not currently enabled, so my student is going to choose to move on without actually responding to the prompts here in the video. Now we come to the matching pairs activity here, where you'll see that the students have several different cards on the screen, and what they're going to do is select on the cards that they believe match in order to make pairs. As soon as we load it onto the page, you'll see the directions popped down from the top, and I can simply click where it says instructions here to collapse those so that I can see all of the cards. So as the student, I can read through all of the choices here, and I can choose that step 1 is plaintiff hires a lawyer, and it gets highlighted in green and then they turn blue to tell me that I have selected those. If I select step 2 and then choose the wrong pair, you can see they get highlighted in red, and X pops up to tell me that I was wrong, and then those two cards are still active for me to continue matching up the pairs. Once again, when ready, the student can move on. Here we come to another content slide that the student can choose to engage with. And now we come to a fill-in-the-blank activity where the students would pull up the individual tiles across the bottom to put them into what they believe are the correct blanks for each of them. Now you'll notice that it didn't immediately kick something out, so the students aren't getting immediate feedback if they were wrong. They do have the ability to select on a card and pull it back down and put a different one in its place, and when they have finished all of them, they can click on done to see what they got correct or incorrect. If they want to try the activity again, you'll see that it's kept the cards that I had placed in there the first time, and it's not giving me the ability to pull them back out. So if I wanted to go back and try again and see if I could match each of these cards with the correct blanks the second time, what I usually recommend to the students is that they back up a page and then progress forward again, and now it resets the activity where all of the blanks have returned, and I can once again go through and slide each of these cards from the bottom and see if I can do better at matching them with the correct blank this time. Once again, when I'm finished, I can click on done to see my score and then click the arrow on the right to proceed when ready. Here's another one of Nearpod's great activities. This is a poll. Just like a quiz, you'd have a question and then some answers to choose from. But unlike a quiz, there is no right or wrong answer. It's simply a place for me to test my own knowledge or express my opinion. When I'm ready, I can move on. And here we come to an activity called the Draw It. The students have a set of drawing tools across the bottom of the screen. Things like a pen, a highlighter, a text tool, images, an eraser, and so on. And then they can either have a blank white space by default where they're going to draw, or in this case, there is some sort of a graphic organizer placed onto the screen for me to actually read a prompt and then place my response in each of those prompt areas. I even have information here in the upper left-hand corner for me to read about what I'm actually responding to in the graphic organizer. When I'm ready to begin to respond, I can close this information card again. And in this case, I might choose that the text tool is most appropriate. And I can drag this over into the field on the left here to say that I'm putting it right there. And when I'm ready, I can even resize it so that it fits better into the graphic organizer. But I don't have to just put text because I chose text. I can pick up a pen and I can draw my attention to particular words that I want to pay attention to in this, or choose a highlighter for the same purpose to highlight the words in the question that are important as I go through this. When I'm ready, I can click to submit my drawing to my teacher, and it will move me on to the next slide without having to click on the arrow on the right-hand side. Here we have another content slide. And continuing on, we have an open-ended question, much like the poll. However, the students will be typing in their response rather than choosing from a selection of responses in a multiple choice. Once again, when I'm finished typing in my response, I can click Submit to turn this into my teacher right now so that if he or she is grading this in real time, they would see that answer, or I can click the arrow to progress to the next slide. Another content slide, you guys can see that there's a theme attached to this, so we're not just dealing with black text on a white background. We're getting the same sort of themes that we would find in, say, PowerPoint or Google Slides, for example. And then we come to our final content slide here that wraps up the lesson for our students. And when the student is finished, they can click the arrow in the upper right-hand corner to exit out of this lesson.